Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was born in Makkah in 570 CE into the Quraysh tribe, known for its status and responsibility as custodians of the Kaaba. His father Abdullah passed away before his birth, and his mother Amina died when he was just 6 years old, leaving him an orphan. He was raised by his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, and after his grandfather's death, his uncle Abu Talib took him in. As a young man, Muhammad, PBUH, was known for his honesty and integrity, earning the nickname Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He worked as a merchant and was employed by a wealthy widow, Khadija, who was 15 years older than him. Impressed by his character, Khadija proposed marriage, and they were married when Muhammad, PBUH, was 25 years old. At the age of 40, Muhammad, PBUH, began to retreat to the cave of Hijrah near Makkah to meditate. During one of these retreats, the angel Gabriel, appeared to him and revealed the first verses of the Quran. This marked the beginning of his prophethood. Initially, he kept the revelation private, sharing it with close family and friends, including Khadija and his cousin Ali. As Muhammad, PBUH, began preaching Islam, he faced increasing opposition from the Quraysh leaders, who saw his message as a threat to their authority and the traditional polytheistic beliefs of Makkah. However, his followers grew steadily, and his teachings focused on the oneness of God, Tawhid, social justice and moral conduct. The Quraysh leaders intensified their opposition, persecuting the early Muslims through social ostracism, economic boycotts, and physical abuse. Despite the harsh treatment, Muhammad, peace be upon him, remained steadfast in his mission. The early followers of Islam, including figures like Bilal, Sumayya, and Yasir, suffered greatly for their faith but continued to endure with courage. Around 620 CE, Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced the miraculous night journey known as Isra and ascension known as Miraj. During this event, he was transported from Makkah to Jerusalem and then ascended to the heavens, where he met previous prophets and received the command for Muslims to pray 5 times a day. This event solidified the spiritual significance of Muhammad's, peace be upon him, mission and the Islamic way of life. As the persecution in Makkah worsened, a group of people from Yathrib, which is later known as Medina, came to Makkah and pledged their support to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. They promised to protect him and his followers, marking the beginning of the migration, or Hijrah. The Muslims now had a safe haven in Medina, which would become the new center of the Islamic State. In 622 CE, after the Quraysh plotted to assassinate Muhammad, peace be upon him, he and his followers migrated from Makkah to Medina. This migration was a turning point for the Muslim community, marking the establishment of the first Islamic state. Upon arrival in Medina, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was warmly received, and the constitution of Medina was drafted to govern the diverse groups in the city, including Muslims, Jews, and other tribes. Soon after settling in Medina, the Muslims faced a military confrontation with the Quraysh. In 624 CE, the two forces met at the Battle of Badr. Despite being outnumbered, the Muslims achieved a remarkable victory which boosted their morale and solidified their position in the region. This victory was seen as a divine validation of Muhammad's peace be upon him message. In 625 CE, the Quraysh launched a retaliatory attack at the Battle of Uhud. The Muslims initially gained the upper hand, but a strategic error by a group of archers caused their defeat. The Prophet's uncle Hamza was martyred, and many Muslims were injured. Despite the setback, the Muslims learned valuable lessons about discipline and the importance of unity. In 627 CE, the Quraysh besieged Medina in the Battle of the Trench. The Muslims, using an innovative strategy by digging a trench around the city, were able to thwart the Quraysh's advances. This battle ended in a stalemate, and the Quraysh were forced to retreat. In 628 CE, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the Quraysh signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, which allowed the Muslims to perform pilgrimage in Makkah the following year. Though the treaty initially seemed like a setback, it eventually led to the spread of Islam as many people began to embrace the faith, impressed by the peaceful terms and the Muslims' dedication. In 630 CE, the Quraysh violated the terms of the treaty, prompting the Prophet to lead an army of 10,000 Muslims to Makkah. The Quraysh surrendered and the Prophet entered Makkah with humility. One of his first actions was to cleanse the Kaaba of idols, establishing it as the center of monotheistic worship. In 632 CE, Muhammad, peace be upon him, performed his final pilgrimage, the farewell pilgrimage, during which he delivered his famous farewell sermon. In this sermon, he outlined the core principles of Islam, emphasizing justice, equality, and the sanctity of human life. He also declared that the message of Islam was complete and that there would be no new prophets after him. Shortly after the pilgrimage, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, fell ill and passed away on the 12th of Rabi al-Awwal, 632 CE, at the age of 63. His death marked the end of his physical presence among his followers, but his legacy continued to grow as Islam spread rapidly across the Arabian Peninsula and beyond.